Very surprised to see Victor actually go top lane. We'll have to see if they do swap it before I begin talking about what the team comps are trying to do, as that will greatly actually impact both of the junglers. This cannot continue into the late game. On the flip side for SK Telecom, Varus, Braum, Silas, Jarvan, the fourth, and Victor, definitely a lot more scaling inside of this team composition. They are going to get more durable and also dish out more damage the longer the game goes.
Certainly does feel that way, as it looks like we're ready to go, guys. Game number 2, a King Zone versus SKT, starts now. Here we go, as already the gloves are off. Just trying to get some items here. Is Pawn. Looks like he was able to get some gold. 105 gold. As he's going to have a control ward already at level 1.
All right. Pawn. Pretty good.
He rolls high.
He definitely, he likes to roll. He's a gambler.
Worked out this time. See a lot of Klepto nowadays on the LeBlanc, especially up against Melee, where you can take advantage of it and just spam your abilities on that guy. Also, Ravenous Hunter, Taste of Blood, just to sustain and stay alive in this lane.
I particularly like it as well when you know that the enemy team composition contains multiple champions that you're not going to be able to one-shot with an Electrocute, and you don't really need the poke damage from the Aerie because LeBlanc doesn't care about that inside of the lane anyway. And so Kleptomancy is definitely the next best choice, as Pawn now trying to zone Faker out of some of the CS, fails to actually do so in the end. Faker 0-2 there on Silas.
Yeah. He is one of the Sylos players.
I like that.
Only losses. But everybody else on his team, very proficient in terms of win rates. And let's take a look at some of the runes here. We do have Conqueror Jarvan coming through in the jungle.
Scorch on Victor. Every day I die a little bit more inside every time I see that. Gathering Storm should always be the rune of choice.
How much Scorch damage do you think he's going to do in this game?
I don't even know, but it's going to be
200?
It's going to be absolutely paltry. It doesn't really matter, especially because you're not picking Victor for lane dominance up there in top lane either. Yeah. Why don't you just want the Gathering Storm? You know that your team composition doesn't want to fight until 20+ minutes anyway. And definitely a blunder. I actually talked about this on stream recently. It's quite a bad rune.
Yeah, definitely feels kind of bad nowadays. Not a big fan of it so far, as Pawn is just farming the Silas right now, getting so many items so far, even though he is down on the CS for now.
Talking about the jungler roots, you can see that Cuz has not yet had the ability to eat the Raptors or the Krugs yet, whereas Klid is already making his way to them. And so, with Klid not being the one to have pressure trying to make ganks work, his team is the one that Klid just has to show up for match and counter ganks endlessly, over and over, in scale into the later stages. And with Clown Drake being the first one of the game spawning, SK Telecom have even more time to be able to do that. Interesting to note that Hunter's Potion picked up for Cuz on the Camille is definitely going to stunt his build. So I think that everything is going pretty well here for SKT this early on.
You don't see that Hunter's Potion very often in pro play, but every so often, whenever it gets picked, you do have to mention it. So kind of interesting that he does go down that path. Khan out of mana here, uses his laser and misses.
Got that Scorch was very effective here. Rise sitting at 3 corrupting potions. Khan showing absolutely zero willingness to actually even attempt to poke him, so I'm glad that we're on the same page here.
Really does make you think about that Scorch.
Yeah. There it is.
Okay. See the immense amount of damage that's coming in. Okay, got him
Khan's
again with the laser.
Just recall now. I am assuming, or he wants to stay for yet another wave. They don't know that the ward's here. And so now Cuz, in very close proximity, maybe some sparks could fly.
It's not really a lot of mana on Khan.
Feigning weakness. And now with Khan not having any mana available, they're not going to be able to trade against that Camille. But he did get the recall this time.
That he did. Take a look at the bottom lane every so often, but not as action-packed as game number 1. Just going very even in CS, and just casually, passively farming down here.
This is a little bit of a lull state happening very early on, and if you're a Kingzone fan and you're watching this, you can't feel too good about it right now. That team comp is the one with the onus on them to get ahead. They need to get kills. They need to get their jungler rolling. Camille, I would probably say, is the worst jungler in the game in the current meta as far as SA and B tier junglers go in competitive, where if she doesn't get any kills going, she just feels absolutely terrible. Even more so than a Kha'Zix. That one slipped.
Oh, what?
That one.
What did you say? I didn't hear that.
I wasn't conscious.
Hookshot comes in, and now it's double TP from the mid lane. Faker going 1v3, trying to burst down Cuz here. Gonna use his own Realm Warp, but isn't gonna be able to get out of that one. First blood goes the way of the Rise Rascal up in top lane.
Not able to get Cuz right at the very end there. Khan now is going to have lane priority. It's not really going to be able to be converted into much. They also got the teleport out of Faker. But Khan's going to be fine up there in the top lane with the Hex Core evolution already completed. As you can see that Deft Intuition, they're trying to freeze down here in bottom.
They've been doing that very often. And we've seen that Camille hasn't really been down there, but it's just an interesting thought as we'll take another look at the replay.
Realm Warp coming in. They have to respect it. Flash comes out. Faker coming in with the teleport. Hold your horses as he had the Rise ultimate. That's...
Wow.
That was the really scary thing there. Cuz almost going down.
I mean, it would have been really cool if he got the kill and got the Realm Warp out. That would have been amazing.
That would have been a stylish play.
Yeah.
As now we return here to the mid lane. And one of the interesting things for me is the CS differential is really in favor of Faker now. Sheen completed for Pawn. Wondering if he's going to do something really wonky like a tanky LeBlanc build with Iceborne Gauntlet. Maybe we're going to see Trinity Force LeBlanc. No, but I'm assuming that it's for the CDR and the mana so that he's able to use Kleptomancy more freely and just spam his abilities more often.
Yeah, and I mean, you're autoing a lot up against a Silas as well, so that's very effective damage, actually, when you think about it at the end of the day. And, of course, everybody's favorite build, the double tank seal, coming in for both of the mid laners. Only one Dark Seal up in the top lane for the victor, as Pawn is just farming as much gold as possible up against Faker.
So right now, 600 gold advantage. That's an interesting ultimate, the Stand United.
That's a nice one.
Yeah,
I like that.
There's quite a few ways to actually utilize this. Faker basically has a teleport available if Clit is ever in close proximity to mid lane. And the other way is that obviously he can cast it on one of his allies and get a lot of value out of it. SK Telecom committing to capitalizing on the Clown Drake. We'll have to see if Cloud Drake ends up spawning next. And it will be an open Drake, so quite fortunate.
So they were able to get on in there because of the control ward that spotted both Pawn and Cuz at the blue buff. So Nice play to just get on in there and grab one of those drakes real quick. Open Drake won't be that bad if this laning phase does continue for quite a while.
Well, mid lane has some trades going on for 900 gold advantage on the side of Kingzone. You can see 300 of it is inside of a Blanc. 500 inside of the Rise. Has a bit of a CS advantage. He also has that kill inside of him. And so, Cuz actually, yeah, he's right there to get that control ward. And remember, Clid doesn't have an obligation to make plays happen. He doesn't need to be the one ganking because his champions in mid and top and bottom all scale better. Mata looking to clear out some vision as bot is looking for the reset. And even if Cuz wants to head into bottom lane to try to make a play here against Teddy, I do believe that the Stand United is still available for Faker.
Should be. You can see he's heading down actually to the bottom lane as in we go. Teddy looking for the 1v1. Can he do it? The Shen ultimate comes in and now the culling in the face, but Faker trying to get that damage down. Deft is going to live for now, but not for very much longer as they're going to hand that kill over to Teddy. Nicely done. They know where their bread is buttered. They want Teddy to carry on the Varus again.
Teddy ends up picking up that kill for SKT. He's also going to have lane priority. Definitely going to be able to convert this potentially into some plates. Actually stops his recall. Looks like he is keen on eating the control ward. And then perhaps getting the scuttle trap, but we'll have to see.
Trading back and forth. It's just Pawn once again, building up as much gold as possible. As the top lane has turned into a snooze fest.
Yeah, this is how the matchup goes. Once Victor gets his Hex Core complete and his laser fires twice, there's not much to really do. Now here's the thing that was interesting is, where was the Stand United from Faker? Yeah, not sure where it ended up going. As I do believe that it was showing that he had it, but didn't quite matter. Def trying to make the most of his time.
루시안
I'll push mid.
쉔궁 없어.
야, 루시안 노플이다.
Shen no ult.
Yeah.
And as we return to live, still same gold advantage on the side of Kingzone. And
Now,
this isn't a good spot for them.
The Rift Herald, really good timing for Kingzone. We always talk about the plates that can be gathered. Looks like he wants to use it up in the top lane. Begin to, you know, just feed as much gold into the Rise that already picked up first blood. Just get him as far ahead as possible as Clid actually going to show himself down on the bottom side and not even attack the turret, so just forcing Death and Tucson to play a little bit more carefully as TP's coming in here from Faker. Rascal just says, let's get out of here. We already got that gold.
Yeah, it's still
and the
really
TP.
well done, though, by SKT. They managed to save the top turret. No more plates end up going down. It should be pretty difficult now for Rascal to actually eat any more of those plates before the 14-minute mark.
Oh boy, good dodge by Lucian, but take a look at the Shen in so much trouble.
Teddy.
Deft just kind of baiting him into that one, though, as Pawn was making its way down. And now Mata in so much trouble as Cuz is here to stay. Even going to use his ultimate to make sure 100% that he was going to go down.
This is a very crucial moment here for Kingzone. They get a lot of pressure relief in bottom. They get 2 assists for Deft. And most importantly, they put Teddy behind a little bit, as we can see what is happening in mid lane here. Clid trying to come in and cancel the recall, but Cuz said, hey, look at me. And yeah, Tucson gets a taunt onto Teddy as Pawn able to come in here as well and help out with everything. A little bit interesting, they valued the flash on LeBlanc instead of just going 1 for 2. so that will be a summoner spell she will not have available if there is a team fight in coming moments. Not that SK Telecom have to handshake on any team fight. Top tier 1 turret going to be going down here. It's going to be the first one of the game.
That Rise is really happy right now. Got a lot of the plates too. I believe it was 3, maybe 2, or 4. It was either 3 or 4 in the end, it looked like there. So Rascal, an insane amount of gold right now, as I guess it was actually just 2 in the top side. So only 1 extra plate here for the side of Kingzone, but more importantly, you take a look at the top side, and the gold lead is actually really heavily in Kingzone's favor already, as SKT are going to go for another Drake.
Yeah, SK Telecom picking themselves up an open Drake. Will we get an Infernal or a Mountain as the third type? Nope, Cloud Drake will be spawning next. And that's actually a very nice one if SKT can end up picking it up. The first one, I'm not super enthusiastic about, but the second one definitely feels very nice. As Faker taking quite a bit of damage.
Still in the LeBlanc and hopping away, as he is going to stick around for this next wave.
And he's just trying to wave clear over and over. And so right now, the gold advantage, Kingzone, it's about 2.3k in their favor. No objectives available, though. And with the massive amount of wave clear on the side of SK Telecom, I mean, I keep talking about how these team compositions eventually collide with one another, but they're really going to have their work cut out for them. How do you perforate the defenses of SKT and actually raise any of these turrets without any siege? No Mountain Drakes came their way, and so Baron is going to be a very scary thing. SK Telecom can sit comfortably back and relax even more into the 3-4 item spike. And it's going to really be on Pawn and Cuz with some smoke and mirrors to make magic happen. Because if this game continues going like it is now, I don't know what they're supposed to do at the 30-minute team fight.
Yeah, they got to get something going here. And for right now, all they've really got was that top tier 1. No swaps or anything like that. And you can see now Cuz is considering hopping onto Faker, who is going to show himself at the Wolves. Clit actually in the bottom lane here, so lots of pings coming down. They want to try to turn this with the Stand United. Here's Pawn into that back line, but they're trying to turn onto Deft, who has to flash away. Mata in a lot of trouble, though. They are going to get that one. Root Prison down onto Khan, as he is not going to go down. Chaos Storm being a little bit obnoxious, as Pawn once again poking a little bit more forward, but just the 1 kill will go to the side of Kingzone.
And it's a nice pickup, though, as every little bit of gold acceleration does matter for them. Every little bit of tempo is what they need to use to keep trying to stretch advantages. Faker picks up another LeBlanc ultimate.
We're going to ult in here. Do they have the burst damage? Faker trying to turn it around with that Aftershock is going to say no to the face of Cuz. No kill will happen.
Now Varus up there in top lane, pushing out the wave. Everyone content, it seems, to remain defensive. Pawn comes over with the Stand United in this replay. Excellent play. Cataclysm came down, but not able to lock anyone up. Khan was here just to flash away instantaneously. And not much else really going to happen as SK Telecom go back to their wave clear ways. And really, they don't have anything to do. I keep talking about it.
Yeah.
They don't care about the turrets. They don't care about the little minuscule amounts of gold. And so Kingzone have to find a way to draw SKT out of their base. Stand United picked up once again for Faker, as he is electing to go for the ability power, Silas.
He already has that Ludens picked up, going for the Protobelt next. Builds a lot like Lysandra, if you think about it. Even has the same rune. with the Aftershock. But now, I mean, we do have this Trinity Force accelerated for the Camille, who is 2-0-1, has a bounty. They got the first blood on the Rise, which is going to be pretty nice in terms of their carries getting the gold. So Kingzone in a decent spot for now, but as you mentioned, they need to make something happen with that decent spot that they are sitting in.
Well, now Kingzone trying to posture around the bottom half of the map, looking to maybe make something happen. But they're just not doing it. And if some people are wondering, well, how do you make SK Telecom move away from their turrets? And this is something I've talked about for quite a long time. You freeze. You take the minions that they hand back to you, like that cannon wave in top, and rather than do what Pawn's about to do and instantaneously eat it and play ping pong with the Victor, you take that wave all the way back to yours and you start trying to freeze with it and say, hey, if you want minions and XP, you have to come out of your base to do it.
It does seem like a good idea, especially when there's no big objective to take right now. You know, it's just the Cloud Drake. But it seems like Kingzone do value that quite highly, as everybody on their side is coming on in. Cuz, bit of a ninja here in the brush, is immediately going to red smite and go on into Faker, as Shen's making his way in too with the Rune Prison. Is Rise to help out, as now Klid's in a bit of trouble. Deucin tanking that one up. The stun comes in. He's going to flash over the wall, but he's going to go down anyway, as another kill is going to go the way of Kingzone.
And it's quite a merry-go-round right now for SK Telecom, as Kingzone, they're going to be able to pick themselves up the Cloud Drake and deny the second one being able to go over to SKT. And SKT don't seem to realize what they want to be doing in this game, as so many members seem to just be on very different pages here.
It does feel like that a little bit. Game number one was, or seemingly was, a bit cleaner in terms of the teamwork, but kind of slowing down here in game number two after their win. But now Kingzone massively far ahead, as Cuz sneaks into the brush. How could you have expected the Camille to sneak on in there? And Faker obviously did not, so he got punished for it.
He did. And if you're SKT and you look at the map movements of Varus, Braum, and friends, you have to wonder, well, why is everyone coordinating like this if you're already just keen on giving up the Cloud Drake? And so Kingzone, as you mentioned, they're in position to punish these mistakes. Those are Pawn and Def's moms.
Yeah. Whole family's coming down to support them, as Kingzone, I mean, it was a very even game number one. Really could have gone either way, especially with the scaling comp that Kingzone had. And now with this comp that they needed to get ahead with, they have gotten ahead by over 5,000 gold. Kingzone looking really good in these playoffs so far. We'll see if SKT can come back in this one and do a bit of scaling themselves.
Well, SK Telecom, they are down about 5,000 gold on the dot. And the one thing that they have going for them is that no Mountain Drakes were rolled and captured by Kingzone. And so Baron is a little bit more difficult to capture. And Varus and Victor are particularly good at defending against Baron from the red side jungle. Those Victor lasers and the Varus piercing arrows can be quite a formidable defense, as well as the gravity field constricting access and the entry point into SKT's red side jungle. And so Kingzone, they still have their work cut out for them despite their big gold lead.
That they do. We'll see which objective is next. They have taken 2 turrets so far. And we've seen Pawn do crazy stuff on the LeBlanc before in terms of escapes. It's not going to be forced this time around, as no engage happens on the top side. Probably smart from the side of SKT.
SK Telecom clearing out vision now on the left-hand side of the map. Just wanting to make sure that nothing sneaky ends up going on by Kingzone. They do have some nice item completions coming in for them here. But Cuz maybe looking to capitalize on something like this.
Coming on in, and now he's going to just challenge Clid, saying, hello, I'd like to fight, and Clid says, no thank you.
Clid did not seem too keen on that.
Keeps the gloves on, does not drop them.
And there's so many item completions lingering on the side of SK Telecom that they just don't have yet. So probably, it's definitely not on the menu for them to try fighting. Fortunately for them as well, Cloud Drake is the next one spawning, which is not all that important now.
Oh, they found Clid, but that is a pretty massive Faker coming on in with his own stand united as down goes the Camille, not tanky enough to survive against all of that damage, and now they're on the chase. Trying to get on top of Tucson here, as even a flash is going to come in. They really want that kill, as two will go in, and now the gang over here of Kingzone are trying to get a kill on top of Mata, but he's not going to go down, and oh boy, that ultimate is spreading, but Teddy does have to flash to safety.
Yeah.
Can they catch him here as Rascal is going to dodge a lot and try to stand up to them, but absolutely cannot, as it's 5 members. Now the calling coming on in from Faker. Not going to be enough to take him out, but that's 3 solid kills going to SKT.
And it just feels like to me that the game has now swung to a point where Kingzone, barring complete mechanical failure on the side of SK Telecom, I don't think they can salvage this game, Valdez. And we're getting brief glimpses of how difficult it is for them to crack SK Telecom at this stage of the game, and it didn't matter about the gold lead. And this is one of the traps that teams around the world sometimes fall into when they pick winning lanes that have to get ahead, but they don't get ahead enough. RNG on the Drakes don't quite go their way, and they find themselves in quite a pickle. You can see right here, they get the jump onto Clid, didn't matter. Stand United coming in from Faker. Their members are just way too tanky against the side of Kingzone. You can see Pawn not even really sure what to do. Def not at the fight. And then like you said, they really wanted Tushen, as any little bit of gold right now for SKT is so much more valuable than it is for Kingzone. Because their goal is just to get to the item point where the game doesn't matter anymore.
Oh boy, now we're going to be bullying Khan as another TP's coming in. Faker not able to cancel his. He's going to be fighting 4 members. We all know how that fight goes. SKT on the opposite side, not quite able to rush down any objectives, so just the 2 kills will go to Kingzone.
I think that Kingzone maybe want to try to go for a Baron play. There's not a teleport available on either okay, well, that's a recall in front of the Baron, but nothing's going to happen. Khan pushing this wave a little bit needlessly, being caught out, and then demanding Faker's teleport. And you have to wonder why they're doing this. That's the big question for me. And Kingzone obviously waiting on the horizon for these very kinds of mistakes. It's going to be the only way for them back into the game. They end up getting a turret off it as well.
That is quite nice, as seems like these teams don't like waiting for Elder. Def says, I would like another Drake spawn here. How about a Mountain? One time for the boys.
How about an Ocean Drake? Come on.
There it is, yeah! Jackpot!
There you go. Unfortunately for them, it will not come online until about 33.5 minutes, so it's gonna still be ways away. Yep. Victor.
Oh boy.
Not sure how close he is.
Baker, no flash, and even if he had it, I don't think he would have lived, as Rise and Shen also went up to the top side with the Realm Warp. They're trying to push this as fast as possible, and they're going to get another turret.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very important pickup for them, and they're managing to capitalize on the mistakes of SKT.
They found a Jarvan. He takes a little bit of damage. Has Stoneplate finished here. So it's going to be a bit tanky, and oh boy, here we go. No mountains required, say Kingzone. We're just going to go for the Baron right away. see they've got a decent amount of damage with the Rise and the Lucian, but it's not going to be enough. As SKT will move over and say no about that Baron.
You have to really respect Victor inside of these narrow corridors as well as the Varus. And SKT just confirming one more time that they haven't started it. And so now we come back into the live game. Deft shoving in mid lane. Faker gonna go forward again in top lane. He's a glutton for punishment, it seems.
4 deaths, not enough, obviously. But this time around, he has his team with him, so going to be a lot safer.
Also got level 16. Very surprised he ended up picking up the Proto Belt in the end. Normally that's an item that you only get on Sylas very early on because it offers the most early game, mid game power, but it tippers off in the later stages of the game. And with the enemy team comp all having basically melee champions and pseudo melee champions, you don't really need the Proto Belt or the gap closing by any means. You don't need it for the wave clear. Interesting item completion.
He already had that, what's that item? The fiery red orb thing. built into, huh?
Kindle Gem.
Yeah, there you go. I was thinking like searing
Right,
orb. I have no idea why.
Casters.
Yeah, well, thank you, coach, for coaching me on that one.
Yeah.
He had already built that, so maybe he felt guilty. He's like, well, I got to give Protobelt a shot. We got to get him onto the stage, or I don't know the gender of the Protobelt. Don't want to assume. As does complete that 3rd item, and yeah, we're still waiting on that Mountain Drake. You can see that Kingzone really chomping at the bit to pick that one up, but in the meantime, are going to pick up another outer turret.
Yeah, they end up getting themselves the tier 1 in mid. Their gold advantage is still at about 6,500, roughly. As they're waiting, and you can just see they're reduced to these types of plays right now. They have to constantly look to try to pick off stragglers on the side of SKT.
Yeah.
As Khan is very close to his death cap. That is such a massive item spike for him. One of the other interesting itemization choices I want to point out is that with the massive amount of magic damage on the side of SKT, and the fact that Jarvan has Cinder Hulk as well, I'm very surprised that Teddy didn't elect to go Wit's End instead of the Blade of the Ruin King, because there's not any HP stack or tanks on the side of Kingzone. I do feel like that is a bit of a itemization blunder. He would have been able to amplify so much of his teammates' damage, as well as his own.
Oh, I got it.
He got the cannon.
Yeah.
That's the real heroic capture.
Yeah. I was just only paying attention to that,
I
sorry.
think he has death cap. Yeah, he does.
Oh, there you go.
That's a massive wake up.
It's it's a good 100 AP probably. Maybe more. As, okay, Pawn gonna come in and just casually steal a Gromp. Or rather, a Krug. Cuz hanging out with Bertha over here.
Yeah, Bertha going down. Cuz does have a 2.5 level advantage over Clid, though, as Clid has been very generous.
Oh, well,
Khan's
we found
dead.
him again as Khan going for a little walk in the jungle. Enjoys his nature walks, but did not enjoy that one as he gets caught out big time right before the Mountain Drake.
But why? Valdez, I'm going to need you to tell me why is he walking that way?
That's a good question.
He has
I mean,
TP, the wave's coming in.
They have zero vision in the jungle. They have that one ward near mid lane, and now they don't even care about Mountain Drake. How about a 5v4 Baron?
Yeah, and Rascal has teleport. So SK Telecom without one of their key champions.
Oh, they might be able to get a 2-for-1er here as Sylas not able to stand up to Rise right now. The damage going in onto the Baron, but they're considering moving away from it as they get the inhibitor here. They don't want to go for
respect.
Yeah, they don't want to go for any smite fights, especially after game number 1. I kind of agree with them as Clid and Teddy both in form on that one.
Now Kingzone, they're going to pick up the mountain. This will cause the Elder to spawn. The one thing that we haven't seen, though, is a team fight.
Yeah, still waiting on that. Now SKT in a bit of trouble here. Down a lot of gold, but the game is going up. And okay, it's their turn. On a ward, they don't even care. They're just going to start it up here. Khan is not in the pit doing damage.
There is virtually no Khan.
Oh, he's trying to now get on top of Pawn, but there's the Chaos Storm. Big knock-up. He's going to get the kill on the Deft, who just gets turned on, but an assassination from Pawn, who is going to flash to safety. Now Cuz here, all alone. Pawn's clone is going to try, and Cuz, can he actually get away? Looks like he might be able to.
Turret died!
Oh boy! Wait, look at the base, Rascal! He's taking out those turrets. They're trying to delay all of those backs here. Can he get this turret? Looks like he should be able to. What? Oh, that's going to be able to, actually. As
but
it
the
was
Super
blocked.
Minion.
And the Super Minion's helping out, but it's 4v1, and Rise not able to do it alone. As a nice attempt here, but the turret stays alive.
Faker having to actually turn around for that one minion. And now he's going to have to push out the wave. But Pawn and Rascal have teleport, and so it's really fortunate that last Nexus turret survived. But it is extremely frail.
Yes, it is. And, well, now that they have Rascal down, it's SKT's turn to start the Baron. But
they don't have Faker.
Pawn getting into the back line, but that is a gigantic shield. As Cuz goes in, they do a lot of damage. Huge taunt from the side of Tucson. It's going to catch 4 on the back side, but the GA is down here for Cuz. Zimana and Clint getting extremely low.
They're going to get the Baron, I think.
Going to come down to the spike. Cuz not able to do it on the backside. Clint is going to get that one. And now they're trying to get out with a bunch of recalls.
Rise is coming.
King Zone trying to get into the backside here as Rise going 1v3. He's going to take out one. Can't quite take out Clint, but he's extremely low. Deft is not going to help out, but the double kill comes in anyway. As the leash there on the Faker.
They have a wave in top lane.
Oh, they're going in. Oh, they're thinking about it. Wave pushing in now as Rascal is going to do it. Tucson and Pawn trying to stop the backs, but Faker was able to get back here alongside of Teddy. But is it going to matter as the fight is turning under Rascal, who goes in alone and just gets blown up with that turret?
And can they hold the Nexus turret?
Oh, it's so low. It's going to live. 57 health. And that turret is a god. It does not go down.
That turret does not go down no matter what is thrown its way. As SK Telecom, they hung on with a sliver, and look at the Baron duration, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Look at the Elder spawn. It's going to persist through Elder. And the one thing that Kingzone had going for them is they had teleport on so many members. That's no longer a thing now. We take a look at this team fight inside of the Baron. Cuz getting so low. Teddy so strong with that Bloodthirster and just the on hit for the Varus. And you can see Kingzone, they're trying to attack SK Telecom from every single angle. And they were trying to hang on for Rise to arrive into this fight. Gravity Field came down. They popped the Gravity Field. Banshee's Veil popped, and then it was a full-on retreat where it couldn't seem like either team really knew how they wanted to conduct themselves in this. You can see Deft actually wasting quite a bit of time getting the red in the golem, so he's late to the turret. Faker ends up stalling just long enough. Beautiful stopwatch, holding the aggro and allowing Teddy to get in there in time. And so now in a straight-up team fight, SK Telecom will win 99 out of 100 times. Kingzone are reduced to guerrilla warfare now if they want to win this game.
They've been relying on that the entire game as well. It's been all about those picks as Teddy is on guard, but the inhibitor has respawned, so going to be much harder to get on in there and start damaging those turrets now, but gonna have to wait and see what happens as Teddy is really just hanging back there, almost expecting a Rise to come over the wall or something.
Elder spawning now in 3 seconds. Kingzone, they do have the mountain. Will they just flip the coin?
Well, they're going to go for another pick.
They have Pawn in top lane, and it's important to note that Khan Does not have teleport.
Massive shield as Faker with his death cap trying to turn it here. He's going to steal that one, but Teddy's going to take that one, make it two, as Pawn is not even in the fight. He's pushing the lanes as Kingzone. You mentioned guerrilla warfare. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
It's all that they can do at this point is the guerrilla warfare tactics to keep them alive in this game.
Oh boy, Clid in a bunch of trouble. No culling to come out here as Rascal trying to go 1v2, but has to be careful.
Did he get it?
That last stun, okay. Redemption coming on in, trying to do that damage to Mana, but it's not going to be enough as Mana will tank it up, and they get another kill.
And that should be the Elder going over. Teddy and Mana should just be able to two-man it. You can see Deft is saying, all right, how do we do this? What are we going to coordinate? As Pawn on there with the Monolith LeBlanc in top lane. Doesn't quite know what to do. This is going to be a 5-man Elder Dragon that is now going to persist once again into the next Baron.
And it will. SKT, a gigantic objective for them. As Clid is going to smite that one down. We take another look at how they try to get onto Faker, but it doesn't work out.
It just doesn't work out. Silas is in the end game here. And Kingzone, they're getting smacked around.
Teddy does a little bit of damage by now as Rascal. Oh,
great vision play by SKT to bring Rascal down here. And I mean, you really gotta appreciate the efforts that Kingzone are going to. They recognize, at least, that they can't win straight up anymore. And they're trying to do all these smoke and mirror plays to try to get some footing that can let them back into the game. I believe that Nexus turret's actually very healthy again.
It's getting up there. It is regenning.
Yeah, he's regening.
But we do have the Litzbane completed here on Pawn. And there are very slippery members you mentioned. I mean, we could get Shen in the mix as well. We have potentially 3 teleports. So you guys remember what happened with Tarzan making his way into the base and putting down a ward and ending the game. SKT have to be so careful to go for any objective because I don't think Kingzone are ever going to handshake another team fight again in this game.
And this is such a beautiful state of League of Legends. If the inhibitor turrets were all still up, I would just say that it's basically over for Kingzone. But because these 2 inhibitors are exposed and there's 1 Nexus turret remaining with those teleports present on the side of Kingzone, it's still a slippery slope. The walk that SKT have to do is to somehow coordinate all the lanes to pulsate evenly and then demand that Kingzone come to them and gravitate towards them. Because if Kingzone are able to just constantly jump throughout the side lanes, use their teleport advantages, use their mobility to run around the map, SK Telecom can never utilize their objective control.
We got Victor down here as well. Pawn going to flash away from this one and double distort to get to safety. You can see how carefully SKT are playing this backdoor situation. No Baron on the cards just yet.
Really beautiful League of Legends at this stage. Kingzone are not just tilting and keeling over. They are sticking it out inside of this game. They're playing to what their win con is right now. And SK Telecom, finally at this stage of the game, are managing side lanes correctly and being cautious. Oh, actually, that's not as healthy as I had thought that it would have been. That region's very slow.
It is. Certainly a question as to why exactly it is so slow. And SKT, they've been, I mean, everybody's been watching the LCK nowadays if you're a team in here, and there have been so many backdoors that have happened in recent times, so you have to know 100% they're like, well, we don't want to lose to this again, as, okay, if that hits, Tucson probably dies. That's okay. Now we're engaging onto Clid here on the right
very
side.
Split up.
They're trying to turn it around here, though. The Cataclysm trying to get on top of everybody. They're on the chase now.
That's a wasted Chaos Storm.
Now, not going to do that much, but Faker getting into the backline is going to get the stun. Oh, the stopwatch
Clid live
is so good. Cuz is going to live, but oh boy. Going in alone there was Rascal. Not sure about that one. Thought the fight was starting, as now they're going to start the Baron.
Def needs to be a hero. He doesn't seem to know how.
Are they going to get in there? There's no...
Clid lived again!
Oh, Clid!
Oh,
He's going to get out. Cuz gets in there, but it goes
Faker!
the way of Faker! Somehow, some way, they're going to kill the two of them, too. The Baron will go the way of SKT.
And now I think, Khan, you just teleport to the minion wave. You tell LeBlanc that you've had enough. Actually, he's just staying inside of the base.
Wants to save it for the back door, perhaps. Really taking it carefully.
I think that, they are captain careful.
Yeah. New superhero.
40 seconds on the Camille, 28 on the Shen, 12 until Rascal comes online, but it's really not going to matter when you're melee Rise against the Victor and Varus. I think that's all she wrote, Valdez.
We'll have to wait and see as Faker hopping on in there. Lots of damage comes out from Pawn, and Rise has respawned. But look at the damage coming out of Khan right now. It's unbelievable. As they catch Rise on the left side, there it is. Make it look so easy as the culling comes in too, and that's going to be it. Game number 2. Once again, we'll go to SKT as they get the 2-0 lead.
And SK Telecom were faltering so hard in the mid game. Khan and Faker constantly being out of position, but they brought it together. They
might have won the game that way.
Maybe.
You know?
Who knows? But
and if they don't have Baron recall, if they do it before the Baron dies, maybe you can do it. I mean, you got a good 7 seconds. Maybe that was the play.
I'm trying to think who gets the MVP this game. And
maybe Faker? He did some good work on the Silas.
I don't think
he also got the Baron.
He got the Baron one time. I think you give it again to Teddy. I think you give it again to Teddy, or you end up giving it to Mata. And the reason that I say that is because Khan and Faker were part of the reason they got into the bad position in the first place. They were constantly overextending inside of lanes. They were being needlessly greedy for minion waves. And it was allowing Kingzone to constantly keep getting these picks that allowed them to accelerate their gold and capitalize on SK Telecom's shortcomings. And even if they end up waking up and having good play in the late game, they got there because the other members of SKT were able to hold on and bring them to that point.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine giving MVP to Connor Faker.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what they decide towards the end here, as another pretty close game, right? It did get to that late game state that SKT were happy with, but really could have gone either way there, even at the end for Kingzone. So really excited to see if they can turn this around, or are we just going to have the clean sweep of SKT as you did predict if it does go to 2-0. The games are still close. I'd like to see another close one for Game 3.
Yeah.
And guys, we are going to join you after a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.